Ryan Walters in Oklahoma. This guy is putting the Bible in school. This guy doesn't care that he's breaking the First Amendment. It doesn't matter if people are against him because he has been sent by God, and he's being very open about it.
Let's bring in Ryan Walters, the superintendent, to make his case. And we also have Harvard Law professor and constitutional scholar Alan Dershowitz.
Oh my God, dude. Ryan Walters and Alan Dershowitz. Dude, what happened to him, bro? Remember when he was on CNN? Like, oh my God, how did he fall, dude? Chris Cuomo? And they have Alan Dershowitz, bro. Like, what chaotic this is, bro. Oh, Lordy. It's Cuomo, he's got some sexual misconduct allegations as well. Now he's moved over to News Nation, leading a talk with Ryan Walters, an evangelical Christian who is now saying that Oklahoma teachers have to teach from the Bible or they're going to get fired. Every teacher, you're not a Christian, doesn't matter. You're a Muslim, doesn't matter. You have to teach from the Bible in Oklahoma or they're going to fire you. It's a massive First Amendment breach. Massive. The biggest First Amendment breach we've seen in ages. But they want to take it to the Supreme Court because they believe the Christian nationalists that Donald Trump put on the Supreme Court are going to find a loophole, and I think they are too. Prior to 1925, the First Amendment only applied to the federal government, and states could do whatever they want, and nobody cared. In 1925, started a series of rulings. That was the first one where they said, no, state actions fall under the First Amendment as well. But I think they're going to try and kick it back to the states. I think ultimately, if this Supreme Court, the Project 2025 people get their way, there's going to be segregation again. In certain states, there are going to be laws that reduce the rights of people of color and of non-Christians. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy, but they're laying the groundwork for it already. Louisiana putting in the 10 Commandments. Now Oklahoma says, hold my beer, putting the Bible, requiring teachers to teach from the Bible. And again, they're laying the groundwork to get rulings in the Supreme Court that weaken doctrines that require all the states to observe certain discrimination rules. But dude, this panel, first off, Ryan Walters hired the woman from Libs of TikTok to be on his board of education in Oklahoma. She doesn't live in Oklahoma. She's not an educator. She doesn't even have kids. And he's made her part of the board because she's anti-LGBTQ and because she has a weaponized following that will send in bomb threats to schools. And that's what they want to do. They want to bully people. That's what Christianity does. I mean, that's how Christianity became a dominant religion. They literally killed people if they didn't convert, bro.
Let's bring in Ryan Walters.
It's what they do,
the
boss.
Superintendent,
Jesus.
To make his case. And we also have Harvard Law professor and constitutional scholar Alan Dershowitz, who understands
Alan
the lines.
Dershowitz.
First of all, sir, thank you for taking the opportunity. I appreciate you doing so. Why is this okay, meaning it is not to indoctrinate people to Christianity, but you believe it is part of a balanced curriculum?
Yes, sir. You know, the process for us started over a year ago where we looked at academic standards and we asked.
By the way, Oklahoma is 49th in education. They're literally the bottom.
And several task force, what's missing here? And they said, well, listen, you know, when we're talking about American history and you don't have direct references towards where did Thomas Jefferson come up with endowed by our creator, what was he referencing there when you talk about Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail and he's talking about Bible stories, and yet, you know, you're not saying anything about their belief system, Mayflower Compact, etc. We knew that we needed to include the Bible directly into the classroom so that kids understood the full historical context of its role in American history. And that has been the document that was under attack by the left. It had been removed from classrooms. And we're saying, listen, we're proud to be the first state to bring it back in a historical context so our kids can have a full understanding of American history.
Why not also include the Torah, where so much of the ethics and morality in the Bible come from, if you want to teach the proper context?
Great question. So we do include all of the other religious texts as well. But Chris, the thing that has come under attack is the Bible. The Bible is the document that the teachers' unions and left-wing
Dude, we do all other religious texts as well. They do not. There will never, ever be a day, ever, so long as we are alive, where any teacher in an Oklahoma school is going to read kids things from the Koran. Just for the record.
We've had multiple threats of lawsuits here in Oklahoma, so they had taken them off the shelves. We're telling them, guys, the Bible has proven to have secular value in its historical context.
The Bible has proven to have secular value is what they're trying to do. They're trying to medical marijuana the Bible is what they're trying to do. I mean, that's what you do. If you want marijuana to be legal, first you bring it in as medical marijuana, because it has legitimate medical uses. And once it's legal medically, then you take it to the next step of legality. But here's the problem. The problem is there's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't establish marijuana in America. But there is something in the Constitution that says you can't establish a religion. You can't make any laws or rules that are establishing a religion. Now, teaching about the history of religion is fine. You should have a class in that. I think they should have a very in-depth class that shows you how these religions formed and you learn about their history. I don't think they actually want to do that, because if you actually take a course that shows you how Islam and Christianity came about, and Judaism and these religions, how they came about and how they fought each other, how they jockeyed for power and how they killed people, if you took a class like that, you probably wouldn't even want to participate in religion. When you look at the history of how it got so bad in the early stages of Christianity that people were paying to be absolved of their sins. It was literally a grift. Christianity got so spun out before the Reformation, where it was literally people getting wealthy, charging people money to absolve sin. It was like Andrew Tate's The Real World, bro. Jesus style. It's gross. Then the major religions were fighting each other, and all of them had, you know, marrying like really, really young girls in common, and enslavement and all kinds of toxic, with a get out of jail free card for, you know, the people that would pray to the deity. I mean, that's just it, right? They can make mistakes and they pray and they're forgiven. And so nothing is off limits.
In American history, it has to be included. We're not seeing the left come after these other documents. We allow a lot of other documents in the classroom. It's not exclusive to the Bible, but the Bible is the one that has been under attack and has been removed, and we feel it's essential to get it back in the classroom.
Professor, what is the bar, and do you think this will get over it in terms of being a constitutional implementation?
Well, I hope not, but I can't be sure with the current Supreme Court. Let's remember that if you go back to the history and you quote Thomas Jefferson, you have to quote him in full. Thomas Jefferson was virulently anti-Catholic. He and Adams agreed upon very little, but they agreed that no country that allowed Catholics into the country or Jesuits into the country could ever be a free country. This country was not founded on Christianity. It was founded on Protestantism, anti-Catholicism. In some jurisdictions, people couldn't vote unless they were Protestant. So let's tell the truth about the history. The history was not the history of Christianity or even Judeo-Christianity. It included virulent anti-Catholic bigotry. Are we going to teach that? Are we going to teach the parts of the Bible that justify slavery, that justify treating women as second-class citizens? Or are we going to be selective in what we pick? Or which Bible will we use? The Douay version, which is the official Catholic version, which has been banned by parts of the United States? Will it be the King James version?
Dude, when you listen to it, though, when you really get in deep into the Bible, it is so gross. It is. It's like so gross. The things that are okay in that book, the tenets and the social hierarchies in that book, and even the basic mechanism of you must worship me to my satisfaction and bow down before me and beg me for salvation. And if you up in any way, I get to burn you for eternity. That's toxic. That's not love. That's not healthy. That's trauma. That is trauma. That's disgusting. That is something that is so traumatic and so nasty that I would literally, first off, I know it's fake. All right, I do. I know it's fake. When you look at the history of religions and the way they like spread out and jockey for power, you know it's made up. It was man-made. It's a social development used to wield power and control and to own political power. And it always has been. But even if it were real, it's one of those things where I'll be willing to take the eternal damnation just to give the entity behind that religion a piece of my mind. I'm serious. It's so harmful and so traumatic and so wrong on every level that I will stand before that entity with fingers drawn and tell that right off in front of all the other souls. And then he can pitch me. I ain't afraid to be in pain. I ain't afraid to burn for eternity. You can't scare me. Pain means nothing. Let's go. You want pain? I'll take all the pain in the world to set that straight. Because that shit is toxic and harmful. But it's crazy that people like believe it's good. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. I mean, it's kind of akin to people who get hit. They get physically harmed with a strap or something or a wooden spoon by their parents, and they somehow tell themselves that it was good for them. They're not acknowledging how emotionally dysregulated they are from having parents who hit them, and how their parents are emotionally dysregulated from having hit them. But no, they walk away from it convincing themselves that all of that was good for everybody involved. It's mental, bro. It's mental. It's like Stockholm Syndrome.
Will it be the Jewish Publication Society version? Will it include the Quran? Will it include other religious texts and religious books? Will it include atheist tracts?
Satanism
against the existence.
Let's go.
Of
I
God.
want the Church of Tommy in there.
Let the students really make decisions. Are we really going to further divide the country along religious lines? We're so divided today. Do we want even greater division? I hope the Supreme Court agrees with that and strikes down any statute or any rule.
Ooh, Dershowitz is going, dude, the Epstein lover is fighting with Ryan Walters, bro. See, you know what's funny? You say the Church of Gay, and that's really interesting because evangelicals and devout Christians who are very anti-LGBTQ, they think gayness is a religion. They think LGBTQ rights are some sort of religious doctrine, which it's not. It couldn't be further from the truth. LGBTQ rights are simply a type of human being being able to participate in the world without being ostracized and shunned and all that. But I think they've done that on purpose. I think much like Christopher Rufo with CRT and the attacks on DEI and the use of the word woke, they have created this idea that LGBTQ rights are an ideology, are a religion of sorts. And you know why they would do that? Because people have rights now. Hey, if you're gay, it's normal and it's cool. Nobody cares. Gay people can get married. Totally normal. There's gay people everywhere, right? By them identifying that as a satanic thing, a demonic thing, an agenda, an ideology, a religion of sorts, by them identifying it as such, it then gives them impetus. Now we have to get the Bible in school, right? We have to get religion to these kids because the demons are converting your kids to this satanic. So I see it now that the hammering away, calling it an ideology, is a way to mythologize the whole idea behind LGBTQ rights. So then them needing to come in and crush those rights and stop that, it creates a sense of urgency and like, oh yeah, you do need to put the Bible in there because if you don't, this other demonic ideology is taking over. But it's all bull, bro. The days when people were first forming Christian ideology and starting to create that religion, everybody was gay back then. Nobody gave a shit.
Requires the Bible or the Ten Commandments. Look, I love the Bible. Love most
Dude,
of the
Alan
Ten Commandments.
Dershowitz says he loves the Bible. I want a fact check on that, bro. Was he loving the Bible? Did he have a Bible out when he was banging kids on Epstein Island?
Not all of them, but I love most of the Ten Commandments.
Jesus.
Remember that the first four are all religious. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. God, don't. No, why should we be teaching our students about not taking the name of the Lord in vain? Or I am the God who took you out of Egypt. Yeah, don't kill. Even that's a debate, because the word in Hebrew is lo tirtzach, do not murder. But one version of the Bible says do not kill. Another version says do not murder. We're going to just have fight after fight.
Dude, look at Dershowitz. Dude, he just went scorched earth, bro. That is wild, dude.
Let's give the superintendent the last word here. Superintendent, respond, please.
Absolutely. That's the most absurd argument I've ever heard.
Dude, the superintendent's response is going to be, the Bible is the one, I'm right, and please don't look at my browser history. That's what he's going to say.
You're going to go back and say that we can't talk about references to biblical text in American history. We can't explain to students why Martin Luther King Jr. referenced the Ten Commandments in the Civil Rights Movement and talked about biblical examples in his letter from a Birmingham jail because he's wanting to take this into a theological argument. It's not a theological argument, Professor. This is an argument about history and people in our history who have referenced the Bible.
He's so full of shit, bro.
Claimed it motivated them. Absolutely, our students should understand that. Absolutely, our students should understand the historical context of the founding of our country. So you're wanting to censor American history by not including the faith of the people in our past. That's absurd. Our students have the intelligence to understand why people made decisions in this country, and it played a crucial role in American history. I know you're trying to talk over me here, but it's really clear. Our history, the founders were clear. People throughout our history were clear that Christianity played a role in their decision-making. Our kids need to understand that very clearly.
Dude, what a weirdo. Yeah, I asked if they're bringing slavery back, too. Let's go. Oh, my God. So, yeah, this is what they want to do. This is their goal.
News at Night exclusive. The conservative effort to reintegrate Christian values into youth education took another
Project
big step
2025,
forward this week,
boss.
with Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters mandating all public schools in the Sooner State teach the Bible, including the Ten Commandments. Let's bring in Fox News contributor and pastor Robert Jeffress and Superintendent Ryan Walters. Gentlemen, thank you both. To you first, Superintendent, what do you say to critics like you just heard moments ago who believe that you are indoctrinating these kids?
What an embarrassing thing for them to say. The left has been pushing indoctrination on our kids by forcing pornography like genderqueer and flamer in the classroom.
Forcing pornography. That nobody's forcing pornography. Genderqueer is on some library shelves in some schools. At my kid's high school, that book was on there. I have that book right here. I bought it. First off, it's not pornography. Secondly, it's not being brought out and taught in schools. But what's interesting is he's on Twitter where there's pornography freely available for every 13-year-old child in the state of Oklahoma. But we don't hear peep about that.
And they have driven the Bible out of schools. For 30 years, we've seen a Supreme Court weaponized, a left-wing radicals weaponized against having the Bible in school. There is incredible historical context to the role the Bible played in American history. You hear it from Thomas Jefferson talking about our rights being endowed by us by our Creator. You hear Martin Luther King Jr. talking about it with the Civil Rights Movement. Our kids need to understand the role the Bible played in American history. That's why the left is so angry right now. President Trump has vowed to put the Bible back in schools. He's put Supreme Court justices on the court that are originalists, that will actually look at what the Constitution said, and it is clear.
They're going to, they want to bring it back, bro.
And they institute them in this country.
Right. Pastor Jeffers, to you, the New York Times says the following, quoting here, the efforts to bring religious texts into the classroom reflect a growing national movement among conservatives, particularly Catholics and evangelicals who oppose abortion, transgender rights, and what they view as liberal school curriculums, to openly embrace the idea that America's democracy needs to be grounded in their Christian values. What's your...
All I can say is this, is I fully support anybody who wants to believe Christianity. But when you start saying that everybody in America, like, they need to be ruled by Christianity, that's when I'm like... We're back. I'm telling you guys, Twitch does that. They cut your stream, dude. They do it when you say something inflammatory. What I said was, I said, F that religion. And then the minute I said it, my stream cut. I don't know if they have live moderators that sit in here or something, or if it's an AI tool, but that is a Twitch thing where the minute you say something that is sort of inflammatory like that, they cut your stream. Dude, you don't get banned for it, but you do get cut. But dude, isn't that wild? That is crazy. Why not Kick? Dude, because Kick is filled with a bunch of degenerates. There's Christianity, and then down below that is Kick. We're going to get serious, right? There's like the KKK, Christianity, and then all the way down at the bottom is Kick. All right, go ahead, Twitch. Ban me, motherfucker. I don't believe in Christianity. I mean, it's obviously made up. And if you study the history of it, it's super toxic and filled with hideousness. But I support people's right to believe it. And everybody who believes it, I want them to be able to like bang their Bibles and wear their crosses and go to church as much as they want. And I want them to have health care, free access to education, and be able to own property, marry whoever they want. They can have however they want as long as it's consenting adults. And I don't want to impede their life in any way. But when they start holding their Bible in front of me and telling me that I need to obey that made up toxic story, that's when we have a problem. When I'm like, no, I don't, your Bible doesn't mean anything to me.
Classroom experience. It was just in the last 60 years that the left has been engaged in a rabid effort to remove any acknowledgement from God from the public schools. 1962, removing prayer. 63, Bible reading. 1980, Stone versus Graham, removing the Ten Commandments. And I would ask your viewers, Trace, tonight, is our country better off or worse off since we've started removing any acknowledgement from God?
Well, dude, I'd like to answer that, Robert Jeffers, because tell you what, dude, in the 1950s, there was God in all the classrooms, and they were teaching the Bible, and they had the Ten Commandments, and everybody was Christian, Christian, Christian. And you know what else they were doing, Robert Jeffers? They were lynching people, bro. Women were being essayed and domestically abused by their husbands. Nobody had any rights. Gay people were getting beat up by cops. Nobody had any rights except white men. So yeah, when the Bible was the dominant book in classrooms, the world sucked. The world was terrible. It was hostile. It was dangerous for a lot of people. Dumbass.
And I would ask your viewers, Trace, tonight, is our country better off or worse off since we've started removing any acknowledgement from God from the schools?
Dude, that is the most asinine statement. How can this guy actually say that? If you say, is the world better off now than it was in the 1950s? Like, bro, ask any black man on the planet, boss. What are you even talking about? Dude, I would love to interview some people. I would love to talk to this guy. Of course, he's not going to get challenged. Look at this guy. This guy looks like he's ready to go hide in a bush at the local park, bro. Look at him, dude. He's like, dude, if you go to the park with your kids and you see this guy peering out of a bush, pack up your shit and run,
it's a scripture verse that says, where there is no word from God, the people perish. And our children are perishing in immorality, addictions, gun violence, and transgender confusion, all because we have forgotten God.
Dude, what a dumbass. Like, there were no transgender people before. I mean, I hate to say there, Mr. Jeffers. Dude, I know you went to college, right? I hope you did. Maybe you didn't. But transgender people were around before your Bible was there.
Men like Ryan Walters, who are helping return our country to its historic Judeo-Christian faith and foundation.
Freedom from Religion co-president Dan Barker says maybe education would improve if Oklahoma's superintendent of education spent his time promoting education instead of religion. This is going to go to court, Superintendent. Are you ready for the fight, and is it worth it?
I can't wait to defend this measure in court. We have very clear legal backing here. It is clear from our history that this is a historical document. It is academic malpractice to not have the Bible in your curriculum, to not tell young people about the role that the Bible played in American history. We will defend it, we will win it, and we will have the Bible in every classroom in Oklahoma, and our kids will know the story of what made America great.
Dude.
And should other religions, Pastor, also be included in this?
No, they shouldn't. Look, America has always welcomed people of all faiths or no faith. But the Supreme Court said in 1844, 1855, other times, that America was founded as a Christian nation. We live in a Christian nation. Newsweek magazine did an article years ago about how the Bible made America.
They're very clear about this.
It can be said that the Bible, perhaps more than the Constitution, has been our nation's founding.
Do you hear that? The Bible, perhaps more than the Constitution. This guy. Holy shnikes.
Now that's Newsweek magazine.
And I got to go, Superintendent, but tell me in 10 seconds, why is it so important to you that the Bible be in Oklahoma schools?
You can't understand American history without the Bible. Our kids can't understand why the founders gave us our, said that our rights came from God. Our young people will never understand how America became exceptional without understanding the incredible impact the Bible had on our history, the impact it had on the leaders in America. Our kids have to know that for America to be great again.
All right, here we go. Hold on. We got to leave a comment here. Please, for the love of God, do not look at my browser history. Superintendent Ryan Walters. It's wild. Now, again, though, the thing about this is this guy's very transparently fake, because this religious guy is pro-Trump, pro-adulterer. And that gives away the whole game. The guy that is trying to put the Bible in schools is supporting the guy who committed adultery on his wife, all of his wives, multiple times, with stars, paid them off, hid the payments, falsified business records, tax fraud. The guy putting the Bible in schools is aligned with the most adulterous, thieving, lecherous, grab him by the pussy, move on her like a bitch. He didn't care about her marriage or her kids or anything. This guy is aligned with that guy. He's willing to sell his soul to get that Bible in schools. They're very clear about it. They don't care. This is about Christianity. This is about Christianity being the dominant thing.